Hannibal Lecter is one of those names of cinema that's difficult to forget. Most people identify the name with the performance that Anthony Hopkins gave in 1991's Silence of the Lambs. It won the man an Oscar for being only 16 minutes long, so there's a reason most people remember it. But what a lot of people don't know is that there have been several actors playing the character, and that Silence of the Lambs was actually based on a book by Thomas Harris, written in 1987. The book was a sequel to Harris's first book, called Red Dragon. The main character of Red Dragon was Will Graham, an empathetic FBI investigator and the man who caught Hannibal Lecter. Graham is pulled from early retirement to chase another killer, and he's also forced back into contact with Lecter for help with the case. Thomas Harris's criminal investigative background helps with the atmosphere of the book, and it also helps to make the reader uncomfortable. The following scene takes place just after Will Graham has visited Dr. Lecter for the first time in several years. The encounter has left Graham numb and shaken, which is understandable. It's been established earlier in the book that when Graham discovered what Lecter was, Lecter tried to kill him with a knife to the stomach and nearly succeeded. Here is Chapter 8 from Thomas Harris's Red Dragon. Dr. Hannibal Lecter lay on his cot with the cell lights down after Graham left him. Several hours passed. For a while he had textures, the weave of the pillowcase against his hands clasped behind his head, the smooth membrane that lined his cheek. Then he had odors, and he let his mind play over them. Some were real, some were not. They had put Clorox in the drains, semen. They were serving chili down the hall, sweat-stiffened khaki. Graham would not give him his home telephone number, the bitter green smell of cut cocklebur and teaweed. Lecter sat up. The man might have been civil, his thoughts of the warm brass smell of an electric clock. Lecter blinked several times and his eyebrows rose. He turned up the lights and wrote a note to Dr. Chilton, asking for a telephone to call his counsel. Lecter was entitled by law to speak with his lawyer in privacy, and he hadn't abused the right. Since Chilton would never allow him to go to the telephone was brought to him. Two guards brought it, unrolling a long cord from the telephone jack at their desk. One of the guards held the keys, the other held a can of mace. Go to the back of the cell, Dr. Lecter. Face the wall. If you turn around or approach the barrier before you hear the lock snap, I'll mace you in the face. Understand? Yes, indeed, Lecter said. Thank you so much for bringing the telephone. He had to reach through the nylon net to dial. Chicago Information gave him numbers for the University of Chicago Department of Psychiatry and Dr. Alan Bloom's office number. He dialed the psychiatry department switchboard. I'm trying to reach Dr. Alan Bloom. I'm not sure he's in today, but I'll connect you. Just a second. I'm supposed to know his secretary's name, and I'm embarrassed to say that I've forgotten it. Linda King, just a moment. Thank you. The telephone rang 8 times before it was picked up. Linda King's desk? Hi, Linda? Linda doesn't come in on Saturdays. Dr. Lecter had counted on that. Maybe you could help me if you don't mind. This is Bob Greer at Blaine & Edwards Publishing Company. Dr. Bloom asked me to send a copy of the Overholser book, The Psychiatrist and the Law, to Will Graham, and Linda was supposed to send me the address and phone number, but she never did. I'm just a graduate student. She'll be in on Monday. I have to catch Federal Express with it in about 5 minutes, and I hate to bother Dr. Bloom about it at home because he told Linda to send it, and I don't want to get her in hot water. It's right there in her Rolodex or whatever. I'll dance at your wedding if you read it for me. She doesn't have a Rolodex. How about a call caddy with a slide on the side? Yes. Be a darling and slide that rascal, and I won't take up any more of your time. What was the name? Graham, Will Graham. All right, his home number is 305 JL5-7002. I'm supposed to mail it to his house. It doesn't give the address of his house. What does it have? Federal Bureau of Investigation, 10th in Pennsylvania, Washington, D.C. Oh, and Post Office Box 3680, Marathon, Florida. That's fine, you're an angel. You're welcome. Lecter felt much better. He thought he might surprise Graham with a call sometime, or if the man couldn't be civil, he might have a hospital supply house mail Graham a colostomy bag for old time's sake.